Which cheap and mass-produced item is stupendously well-engineered? The lighter. Spontaneously ignite fire basically whenever you want. Not exactly cheap. But I'm impressed that I can have a ceiling fan run on high for 15 years straight and not have it explode on me. Ball bearings. The transistor. Toilets. They use nothing more than gravity to reliably flush. Doesn't use power at all. The humble corrugated cardboard box. It's lightweight, strong, splash resistant, somewhat padded, doesn't break down in heat, cold. Scratch resistant, recyclable, biodegradable and able to be assembled cheaply into any size. The basic design has existed for over 150 years. The retail shipping industry runs on cardboard boxes. Straight men of Reddit, what's something you've been told not to do 'cause that's gay? Buying a white car was considered gay to my friends for a while. That was the weirdest one. Apparently standing with one knee slightly bent is gay. Remember son, dying is gay. I had an ex-boyfriend tell me, drinking from straws is gay. What? A dude told me that wiping your ass is gay. Apparently I'm a big fucking gay man. I was told it was gay if you cried. How did you lose your best friend? Her shitty boyfriend drove a wedge between us and ultimately ruined her life. She did some shady shit too. I ran into her 10 years later and she apologized for everything. I accepted and forgave her, but knew I'd never really have a friendship with her again. I realized that they were my best friend, but I wasn't so much so theirs. Made evident when I started being bullied in high school and she immediately turned on me. As if she had waited for this opportunity to ditch me. Drifted. I withdrew a bit more into myself and my family, didn't seek out contact with them. Graduated, work, etc. Life just gets in the way sometimes. I have no ill will towards him, but we're not close anymore. Cocaine. He isn't dead, he's just not the same anymore. Undiagnosed heart condition suddenly killed him. It was and still is awful. He was only 27. I have moments that I want to share with him. Just call him. Set up a trip together. Text a funny anecdote etc. But can't and it hits me all over again that he's gone forever. I stopped trying to maintain relationships with people who wouldn't try themselves. When did you witness someone's large ego get absolutely flattened? I worked IT support for my school while I was in college. One of my coworkers was the type who thinks they're the smartest guy in the room. One day he came in and couldn't get his monitors to work. After 10 minutes of watching him struggle, I tried to interject and help but got a long-winded rant about how he's been working with computers his whole life and doesn't need any help. If he can't figure it out, I certainly wouldn't be able to. I just responded with, "That's cool, man. I just thought monitors had to be plugged in to work. My bad." His entire face turned red and he looked like he wanted to die as he realized both monitors were unplugged. A guy in our union was running for some executive board position and he was telling everyone what an easy win it was gonna be for him because nobody liked the other two people running for the job. Come election day he got a very humbled awakening. Out of 1,300 people he got less than 10 votes. He didn't speak to many people for a while after that. Nobody likes a braggart. Some dude came into the pub I work at for the pub quiz. Kept going on about how he was smarter than all these bumpkins. I live in a university city. And that he was gonna get first prize. He was adamant and he sat at the bar across from me the whole time. I played on my phone and named myself Bumpkin. He didn't even place in the top 10 and was furious that he got beaten by a bumpkin and a gang of old retired fuck-ups that have nothing better to do. Me when I was a kid. Made fun of a girl in my neighborhood in front of people. Then proceeded to try and do a bike trick and break my wrist as they all watched. Once I saw two young kids, probably like 13 years old, try to cross the street. A guy in a pickup truck yelled at them to get out of the way. The kids had the right of way and said something back to the guy. The guy loses his shit and jumps out of the truck acting like a hard ass and got up in the one kid's face screaming and yelling. When he took his eyes off of the kid he was yelling at to yell at the other kid. Bam! Right hook to the face from the first kid. He got dropped with one punch. The two kids took off like the Roadrunner. By the time the guy got up they were gone. That guy was probably 20 years older than them and got wrecked. I imagine he had to go to work the next day with a big shiner and had to lie about what happened. It was so awesome. He totally deserved it. Ex-girlfriend was hostess at a swanky restaurant in Seattle. She was looking down at her book when some people approached the dais and a guy said, "I need a table for 8. She said without looking up, "It's probably going to be at least a 90-minute wait." Voice says, "But I'm David Copperfield." X says, "Then maybe you can make a table appear." Finishes what she's doing. Looks up. It's actually David Copperfield. No table appeared. What quote changed your life? There is no problem so bad that you can't make it worse. Grief is just love that has nowhere to go. What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. Epictetus. Doing what you love as a job is a great way to make it something you used to love. Former boss that got burnt hard. It is no bad thing to celebrate a simple life. Tolkien. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Former homophobic people of Reddit. What happened that made you stop being homophobic? I met some gay people. As it turns out, they were just people. Like many here, I grew up around people where homophobia was the norm. I come from a Latino, Mexican background and I'm really ashamed of how much homophobia, hate in general there is in our culture. Since most Mexicans are Catholic, I grew up around the church a lot, especially since my father had once been a Catholic priest. Long story. Growing up, and to this day, I was surrounded by lots of hate towards the LGBTQ+ community. My parents would often make remarks making queer people seem almost as if they were crazy. They would often say that they were crazy for wanting gay rights, and even saying, yuck, if they saw a movie scene where two people of the same sex were kissing. As a kid, I was sort of brainwashed into all of this. I remember being a little kid and being disgusted by gay people and having strong opinions against trans people. As I grew older, I learned more about the world around me, especially learning from friends who had come out. I especially owe a lot to a teacher of mine who had opened my eyes up to many issues of our world. Now I'm a proud pansexual. Edit. I didn't mention as much that a lot of hate towards queer people was also spread at church. During the Mass, the priest would often make remarks about gay people. They also made me go to a sort of doctrine or church school. I'm not sure how to describe it in English. The lady teaching us would also often make remarks saying how the devil tempted people into wanting to be gay and how it was wrong. She said some pretty crazy stuff, claiming that Columbus was a great man for spreading Christianity to the New World. I even got into an argument with her about that. Man, people are crazy. Not homophobic. But I woke up at about 10 when my mom said my uncle was banned from coming to our vacation condo by my father because he was gay. Before then I kind of let the arguments and both sides bit wash over me. But they WSS a crystallization point where I started noticing it as pure bigotry. I am sorry, the nicest dude in the family full of domestic violence and white-collar drug abusers can't come to Christmas because he's gay? You're both cheating on each other. Sanctity of what marriage now? Honestly, I think it was Lady Gaga. I was young and impressionable and she was cool and so LGBT plus friendly that I just started accepting people. And then it turned out I was a lil gay too, so things worked out well lol. My mom slapped me and told me everyone has a right to be happy. That was in 9th grade 13 years ago. Homophobia was the norm when I was growing up. Then I got older and the political landscape changed, which made me question my belief, and I came to the conclusion it just didn't make any sense to be homophobic. Subscribe, my brothers.